Guess what? I finally got you. Good morning, everyone. Or is it my afternoon already? Yes, I've been at this for a few hours. I am still having trouble with it. Pardon me, I'm going to fidget a minute. I was getting disgusted with all my computers. You've got the lady hippie at the bar who's desperately trying to make sure her butterfly does not leave. And again, you got the lady hippie at the bar. Pure, it's anything and everything. We really just don't give a shit. We're going to talk about what we want to talk about. And let's see if I can't throw some live chat up here. Yes, there we are. Now, I do not know if it will cut me off. This time I don't have much time to find out what's going on with this thing. I'm having the worst time. I really, and I was going to go shopping. I was going to dash off and hit Burlington. I love that. I may be echoing. I think so. Yeah, I wear all the hats at the studio. And I fell down the stairs here when we were renovating. And so my studio, which was upstairs, has now become just the bar. So bear with me. You can see a little bit of the house in the background there. And I need my stiffener today. This is my stiffener. I call it stiffener because my mother did. They would faint. And then after the ampule of ammonia was done and they were awake and all, the men would run off and get them a stiffener. Personally, I think they fainted an awful lot. That's all I can remember. Get this, carried the little ampules in our aprons and stuff. It was a mess. But women just didn't drink much like this, not in their 50s and 60s. Cheers. Mm. It's what they call a fireball whiskey. And usually I have the cinnamon one. And so that, this is good. It is for entertainment purposes only. And apparently, I'm going to spend 4 hours trying to go live and then go live and don't like where my butterfly is sitting. That's better. I'm picky like that. So I ended up thinking, well, what's going on here? I watched, and 3 days ago, I found out that the young lady that was on the train, but yeah, she was on a train in South Carolina, and a man got up, got me, and stabbed her to death in the neck. They show the film of not him actually doing it, but then leaving and walking along with blood dripping down from his arm and the knife because he stabbed her in the neck. So she would have exsanguinated probably in a minute, 2 minutes. There were other people in that car. They all pretended they didn't see anything. They all just stared at their phones like nothing was happening. They didn't try to help that girl. This child had lived and escaped from the Ukraine war, one of the people who really needs asylum. And she went and paid everything. She did everything. She's learned English. When as soon as they gave her permission or a slip or whatever you have to have, she went to work. She got a job that same day. I think she had 2 or 3 jobs. This girl was hardworking. She was 23 years old. She wasn't doing anything to that man. She didn't even look at him. She was in front of him looking at her phone. 23, made it through the war to get to America, did it the right way. And the little bastard who's been he was arrested 14 times, for God's sake. And the way they talked about it, they didn't say anything. It's been over a month, I believe, since this actually happened. I'm 9 miles from South Carolina. I'm an Army veteran. I trained at Fort Jackson in Columbia, South Carolina. And the only reason this began to get airtime on, say, satellite programs, I can't call them news programs. As I was growing up, it was ABC, NBC, CBS. That was all you had. But you had Walter Cronkite. You had reporters. They didn't get up there and tell you what they thought about this, that, and the other. They just simply reported the flipping news. Now, that's not what I'm up here doing. I'm up here drinking in the middle of the day because I just could not get live. I mean, it just will not go on there. And I try and I try and I try. Finally, whatever it was I did, I'm back. Now, I wanted to say thanks to everybody out there. Blessings on all of you. You guys really helped me a lot for those of you who are new, I broke my leg severely in three different places. My ankle was semi-detached. We were doing home renovations, and I came down the staircase in a really wild way. So, and it took like 2 hours just to get me out of the door. But I had to wait a month for the surgery, and well, there was no cast on it. There was a slight cast in the back and under the heel of the foot. The rest was ace wrapped. And don't put any weight on this. And I'm like, are you kidding? You're gonna tell me that shit? So Hurricane Helene hit. Oops. And they said it wasn't going to. It's going to be a small rain event. Don't worry about it. And I said, well, let's get. We had Walmart Plus, and that's in Kroger Plus, and I said, let's just get some supplies in for the animals because we also take care of whatever animals are thrown out here in the cul-de-sac, mainly cats. And I wanted to make sure we had enough for 2 or 3 days, both inside and outside. And I thought, well, I was real smart doing that because I knew the next morning I had to go to surgery. And of course, my husband at 4:30 in the morning, this is bad, wanted to get up. And I thought to myself, because normally I'm a light sleeper. If I sleep at all, I doze. And I could hear the rain hitting that side of the house next to the master bedroom. We've been here 14 years. I had never heard the rain hit that side of the building. And he had two RVs parked there. One's like the size of a Wonder Lodge. The side comes out and everything is huge. And he had just managed to move them there, park them there, and one was a pull behind. And I think if he hadn't done that, we would have sustained severe damage. It ripped out the wiring on the other side of the house, but the boat caught it, and the boat was big and it dumped sideways. And so it pulled the wiring out, and a small piece you could just see outside. But if the boat hadn't been there, it probably would have taken a whole bunch more of the wall. We had three trees that came down in our backyard. We had a forest on the side of the back. Almost all of that's gone now. Tornado came straight through there. Here it is. Like I said, the broken, like there's nobody at the VA except those who got trapped there. And so no VA. We have to come back home, try to get around everything. And it's still, you know, I don't even know how to describe it other than it's a hurricane. And it's not just a hurricane winds we were facing. It was tornadoes and all this other stuff. And all the debris, everything coming down, people's roofs. And I mean, it was terrible here. The city was shut down effectively for 2 weeks. And so, of course, there was no surgery, and I'm still stuck. So it was a month till I had surgery, and it's taken me 10 months to recover. Actually, a little bit longer because it's been a year now. But I took a hiatus, and everybody was so great to me. I just wanted to extend my thanks to those of you who know me, this family and friends who pop in. Guys, hit like, subscribe. It helps out. Share. I can be funny sometimes. It's what they tell me anyway. But I had wanted to talk about a few of the current events. I don't really dump. When I'm opining about these, I could just dump the video and say, "Look at this, this, this." But everybody's seen it. Or if they haven't, all they have to do is click on it instead of click through me and go through the link and go over here. So I don't do all that. But I have had a large group of support out there. And I don't know how to say thanks, guys. I do want you to come on. That's what it says. It's about anything and everything. We can talk about this young lady losing her life where she thought she would be safe and she should have been safe. I was shocked at this. I was totally shocked at this. And in South Carolina, I had never seen such evil perpetrated. And I'm an Army veteran, a published author, and still I just can't seem to come to grips with all this. And again, it took a month of everybody here on social media, as they call it. I call it social Woodstock. This is free. We can talk to each other. We can say we don't like this, and we do like that so far. In Britain, however, of course, they say they have free speech, and they're sending a mother of five to jail for 32 months because of something she posted on Facebook. That's not freedom of speech, just so you could check that. There's some other things that are going on that I'm freaked out about. Europe, I'm totally freaked out about them. They are still trying to make a Palestinian state. Why? Why? This isn't your country that's next to these people. It's Israel. It's the only democracy in the Middle East, the entire Middle East. Get a map. Get a map. Germany, France are abutting these Saudi Arabian countries, is what I call them, but they're Arabic and Muslim countries. but there must be a reason that they don't allow the Palestinians to go there. But they've been Palestinians here, and they've let them all over Europe, and all you can see are Palestinians waving the Palestinian flag, or people waving the Palestinian flag. And here, it's either the Palestinian flag or Mexico. Why the hell are you here? Out of curiosity, if you hated us this much, why are you here? I have seen there's some, I can't think of their names offhand, but everybody knows who they are. Ilian Omar, one of them, and all they do is put down the United States, and they are in Congress to serve the people of the United States. So I don't know how they got in there. And one of them, two of them, one was the refugee from Somalia, and we were so much dirtier and worse than Somalia. Why she didn't go back after she married her brother to get here, I don't know. To Lida Rashid, I think is the another one. Get a razor or something, pluck that hair. It's a little confusing, or choose your gender. It's like, and they're up there going, they would prefer to be, and they are Palestinian, this, that, and the other. I'm like, why the fuck are you here? Go put on a hijab and get out of my country. I see the girls running around with little scarves on. You see I love what England calls a little leather box, because that's all you can see. They remind me of Cousin It, just less hair. You will see. I'm in the bar. I don't know what it is, but the chandelier here in the bar. We turned the dining room into the bar. Another long story. But whenever the air conditioning kicks on, it dims. And I'm like, there's got to be something wrong with that. Been here 14 years. We said, oh, well, we'll get to it. We haven't. But he did get to getting all the carpets out and putting down hardwood flooring for me. And like I said, I was severely injured um, when we started working upstairs in the staircase, which just I don't think's ever going to get more done. It's a mess. So I'm not trying to say that I know better than the people who are in politics. I'm saying we should talk about this stuff while we can. Apparently, they're taking away freedom of speech in many countries now. France is doing it. England's been doing it. They're sentencing people to jail for speaking their mind. That's what these formats are. I've seen that even Elon Musk is now making a podcast. I only saw a few. Shay Shay, uh, Rogan, and those, just the few that I liked, I'd seen. But there weren't that many podcasts, I thought. And then I took my hiatus of 10 months. And when I came back, I was like, oh my God, everybody's got a podcast, and half of them are at the freaking bar. I was like, so that's not a good idea. So I went with it, and I kept it anyway. I am still Lady Hippie. I am at the freaking bar. And for most people, a little bit early. Even my husband went by and said, oh, you're having a drink already. He buys those for me. they're they're little. I like them. They got just that bit of whip. And the women were right. In my parents' generation, I was adopted, so they were a little older. But they were right to have a stiffener, because some days like today, I spent 2 hours of time. Why won't it go live? It would just say go live, and it would just do the circle. And I'm scared that it'll cut me off. So again, if it does, I'm not coming back today. Hit the like, hit the share, do something, subscribe. It's free. You can take it off later if you don't want to. If you are a friend and family, again, I thank you. I miss you, but please make sure you subscribe. And of course, now I can't see because something's in my eye. And there is, I don't have, somebody here, and I didn't do the studio because that's upstairs, and I've decided I don't have an upper floor. It took me a year to come back. I'm not doing stairs. Fuck the stairs. So I thought I'd get up here and remind everybody, had we not talked about this on podcast from this one, that one, the other one, and even Bill Maher's got one at the bar. I'm like, shit, I don't even have the good hooch. Man, I just got whatever's on sale up here. It's a big bar, I mean, it's got an ice maker, blender, all that. The huge mirror behind it. Why we took everything from the dining room and made it into the bar. So it's basically the whole house at the bottom is the bar. I love retirement. I don't have to go anywhere. I just go, honey, can you pick these up? And he makes sure to pick these up for me. So he shouldn't give me so many fits because I've been up here for an hour or two just trying to talk to you. Couldn't get it to work. Mm. I also quit smoking. He allows me. I love my little cigars, and I used them a lot when I was in Europe. I used to sell my cigarettes. Another long story. So in Europe, when I was stationed there, I used to get these, and I saw a friend here at my bar, and he had them. I was like, "Where did you get that?" So he showed me what they were and everything. Gave me one to try. And that was it. But they go out if you don't keep doing me something with it. Like any cigar, it goes out. Um, so I have my stiffener. I have my cigar, and I get a whole hour of talking just to myself in the hopes that somebody will come on live chat, which I have here. If you do see me hit something, I don't care. Bitch, go home. If you don't want to talk about that, that's cool. I'm down with that. I don't care. That's why it says anything. There's whatever crosses my poor little mind is probably going to be talked about because I hope that the rest of you, if any of you see me, it's social Woodstock. We need to stay up here on this. We need to be still staying the same. I see my butterfly again. Get up here and say, I don't like this or I don't like that. Why did it take a month for this to come to the mainstream, as they put it, media now, not news? And that's true. It's not news. And why did it take a month? Why was the murderer? Did he have? He had a GoFundMe page with several $1,000s. They're helping the murderer. This little girl was just a tiny little thing. She just like me. She's not. I mean, although dynamite comes in small packages, so it's a little different maybe. But she had no warning. She had no way to defend herself. This man attacked her from behind and basically slit her throat 3 times. I mean, it was. I know that what has been done. They don't show that, thank God. I think I did like some guidelines when I was growing up. You didn't have lawyers who advertised. Then I mean, it's just changed so much since I was younger. And we all say, "Oh, it's freedom of speech." Really, it's not. In some ways, like this, they're allowing us to do this. I think they do this to decide on whether there are still people out there that we can do this or that with, or so forth and so on. They'll know who feels what for what, who wants to do what with what, so forth. And these people who are supposed to be representing Americans from different places, different states. These are not different countries than the United States. They're all the same. We're all the same. Yeah, they have boundaries, they have borders, but nobody listened to that for 4 years. And so now they're trying to get the extra 30 million out of the country. And they are self deporting. And that's nice to hear because they get a chance to come back. And that's all important. We've always been a melting pot, but at the same time, these people, we don't even know if they had measles shots. We don't know. There could have been 30 of them that had measles already, and they sent them through Dallas. I mean, on the way to New York or New Jersey, or these people were coming at 3 a.m. I love this guy. I call him Professor um, Victor Davis Hanson, and he's got a podcast called Blade of Perseus, The Blade of Perseus. And if you get a chance, look him up, or Douglas Murray, if you've never heard of him. He's also a very good writer, author. He's published, I think, 5 books, whereas Professor Hanson has published about 25 or so books. He's 71, sharp as a tack. I mean, this man, I don't care what war it is, if it was the Peloponnese War or the Vietnam War, that man knows all about it. He could tell you what tank was doing what where. I mean, it's amazing. And I knew quite a lot about World War II. I don't think people realized how much changed during that. This was like biplane fighting when it come out. It was the 39 when he attacked Poland. Um, I mean, I didn't even know that at some points that they actually had Germans in England areas. I think along the coastline was the way it was. But these guys, if you want to know history, you want to try to find that out, you need to go there and look them up and listen to them. You just check them on YouTube, on TV. Um, those are also. where I get my news from, and I get some clearer understanding of the fact that there are some real people out here, and not all of us are scared of the state. I don't know any other way to put it. It's like we could teach Russia how to be treasonous traitors. I mean, I've seen so many treasonous traitors on steroids get up and despise my country on live TV, and that's okay because they're in Congress. What the fuck? When do you say what the fuck enough is enough? They dished my fucking country one too many times. Get them out. Here, you're revoked. Well, now it's okay if you marry your brother to get in the country. You can still get into Congress and trash the country. What the absolute fuck all is going on out there, folks? Now, I ain't a young. My grandson is also an Army veteran. Said he wanted to walk in his grandma's boots, and I was like, "Don't do that." It was peacetime. I had a blast. I had to go all over the country. I loved it. But he was in a wartime footing at that point. Afghanistan was still going. He was sent to Korea, and he decided after he left Korea, it was okay, and he was going to be a civilian now. So you can see. And my son's in his 40s. So I'm not a spring chicken, which you can also see from the screen. That to me, though, the reason I bring up age and the reason I put Lady Hippy at the bar, because I keep hearing baby boomer, and one person more that calls me baby boomer is probably going to be bitch slapped. I really hate that term. Um, I don't know what it is about Generation Z or X or whoever. None of it makes any sense to me. My grandson was always watching Ancient Aliens with me, so he knew all about history. He knew all this stuff. He comes back from Korea. I don't know the boy. He hates Trump. He's with the left, as they call it, the left. Help the Palestinians. They've been massacred for years. And like they say, keep fucking sending bombs into Israel. Oh no, no, that's why because they're trying to keep them from killing everybody. It's backwards. It's just totally, and they will not see sense. I didn't know the young man that came back from Korea. I did not know him at all. I was so upset. I still am, if you can't tell. It's been a year. It's been 2 years that he's returned, and he's still wanting us to take care of Palestine. Have you lost your fucking mind? And so I can't now with my own grandchild, who I thought I could always speak to. I cannot approach it. So I can't talk about religion or politics because you're going to get in a fight, or I am. I believe in my country. I serve my country both as a soldier and a civilian. We're supposed to be Israel's allies. Where are we? And for the other thing, why are Israelis bombing Qatar? What are you thinking? Okay, maybe there were some terrorists over there. I get that. But it's Saudi Arabia, and you weren't at war. Saudi Arabia, as far as you can tell, I thought, hadn't attacked you, but you attacked them at the time. I don't know why. I wanted when this war has gone on way too long because you wanted to save the hostages, and all that's been done is prolong their misery and torture. This place should have been razed to the ground. Had I been captured, I'd have been praying for a bomb to drop on my ass. It's been 273 days, I think, and how many hostages are you thinking that you can get back now? I don't believe there are any left. It went from 50 something people left that were they knew they had taken to 23 alive or so, and now the last I heard was 15 are alive, and I'm thinking they're not going to give them back to you. Maybe their bodies, maybe they kept the bodies of the babies and the mother that they killed. Who does this stuff? This is beyond Nazism too. I keep hearing Nazi related to Trump. Grow the fuck up. Read a book. Hit Google. I don't care. But Trump ain't Hitler. Okay, get it? Because if he is, then the rest of the Americans are just as bad. And I don't buy that shit either. We don't like to see anyone killed. We don't like to see what's going on in Europe, which is scary as fuck. It's scary as fuck. They want the terrorists protected. What is wrong with you? You do not protect terrorists. And these people have been well known to be terrorists since the 60s. Okay. Palestine was never their country. There was never a country until they keep trying to make it. What is it, 4 miles by 6 miles? Some shit. Look at the map. And the other thing I couldn't figure out is why aren't the Israelis weaponized? What is that? They were next to a fence that my dog would have jumped over. And 1,200, 1,300 kids or whatever are out there. You, have you lost your blooming minds? Did you see what footage they let out? Miles and miles of cars burnt out. And the Israelis have to go in there and try to get the remains, try to treat them humanely and give them peace. This is very important to the Israelis. And it should be important to everyone. And this is why they don't give back the bodies of the hostages. They did finally send the bodies of those two babies. These were babies. 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 One couldn't hardly walk and the other was still in swaddling clothes. What the hell? Why is the world going and looking the other way? Why aren't they acting like an ally of Israel? They're right there. We got to cross the fucking ocean to do something. Same with the Ukraine. That bitch is on their border, not mine. Then I hear today that the Russians have hit Poland. And I'm looking at this thinking it's in color. It's not black and white. If it was black and white, it'd be 1938, 39. But it's not. It's 2025. What the fuck? When does everybody stand up? I mean, you can do a podcast. If you don't want to do a podcast, hit any podcast. Just look up podcasts and find a few you might like. Let your voice be heard. Talk. Get out there. This thing is social Woodstock. I'm telling you, there's as long as we can use this, we should use this. And we should do this in the memory of many, many things that are going wrong, not only now, but in the past, and it looks like in the future. I have grandkids. Yes, the one is an Army veteran. The other's only 13. She's just a little girl. And she's almost always homeschooled because she hates the school system here in Georgia. And I don't blame her. And the parents can't go in and complain because they'll tase you 3 times and pepper spray you and then drag you out while ripping your clothing outside and whatever else they do. I believe they actually put you in jail. I love the mug shot that Trump put in the White House. Oh, Donnie. I call him Donnie. I couldn't see anything but funny about that. I mean, I wish you could have made it a permanent fixture, but I mean, they tried everything. They tried 2 assassination attempts when everything else failed. There's all kinds of federal judges, and I didn't realize that myself, that apparently can run the country. You want to deport these people? No. Stop the plane, turn it around, and bring them back so they can get due process. I kid you fucking not. What? I mean, where are the people? Why ain't anybody standing up going, you get to be kidding me? This guy doesn't have power. It's not. The president is executive, period. He can do what, or she, whatever, whoever the president is. That's the top dog. The buck stops there. It doesn't belong to a federal judge who is deciding for all of America that the president can't do whatever it is they're supposed to do. I also loved the new Gulf of America, and I loved Hillary dying laughing with Bill, I guess. Hey, honey, Hillary. Hey, honey, you're going to stop that. She busted it. I did too, and I heard it. I love it. I love it. Now they've changed it to the Department of War. And that's what it was originally. And it needs to be. He's Secretary of War, not Secretary of Defense. It sounds like we're always at the fence, getting kicked in the face. And technically we are. We had 2-3 wars going at the same time. It seemed like to me. We had Iraq, we had Afghanistan. What the hell were we doing in Iraq anyway? Weapons of WMD. No, they didn't. And if they did, it was they used it on their own people. And no, we're not supposed to be policing the world. And that was their excuse. We're going to make a democracy in Iraq. No, you're fucking not. I don't care what they tell you. They would tell to your face while the guy behind them is stabbing you in the back. Literally. Yeah. Benghazi sound familiar? Anybody? Libya embassy murdered the men and the ambassador, drug him around naked. Nobody remember that either? I bet Hillary remembers it. Since she refused to send aid, they begged for help. And finally, to get their bodies back, you've heard of these companies, Blackstone, I think is one, that are they're mercenaries, and they broke protocol and went and got the men's bodies. They retrieved them and brought them back so they could be sent home. But they begged to go, and everybody kept saying no. Our own people weren't allowed to go. The mercenaries weren't allowed to go until they broke rank. So we're going to at least do this, and God bless them. But they could send a team to find Osama bin Laden, kill him, throw his body in the ocean. All awful things. It's one thing to kill somebody's in a cave with 5 women and none armed, but you don't have to desecrate the person by also throwing them in the ocean because they have their own rights for funerals as well. And that should have been afforded to any human being. Y'all need to stop doing this. Oh, I'm this and I'm that. And no, you ain't. You're human. You're an earthling. If you're sitting up there because somebody shot off your arm and you make it to a hospital, do you tell them, I don't want the Arabic blood or I don't want the white blood? Or, no, you fucking don't. No, give you whatever the fuck they can, and you are happy to get it, and you're lucky to get it. But now the world just seems to be a much more barren place and a much more hideous place than it was even when I was 20 years old. And now I'm too old. I got to admit, I stay armed, and if nothing else, we'll sit out and dry fire. So your muscles don't forget how to use a weapon. And ladies, actually men too, if you're going to get a weapon, get your permits, get your weapon, make sure you can do it at least occasionally. Go out and fire your weapon, learn how to take it apart, clean it, put it back together. All of those things are very important. Especially, I've seen some stories where women are killed by their own weapons because they didn't use it properly. They didn't get the safety off in time because they weren't used to doing it or they had never done it. They just had it and figured that was good enough. It's not. You have to know your weapon just as well as you know when you need to shave your legs. I mean, you need to have that sucker. And I don't mean you need it in your purse, in the boot of your car. I mean, you need to have it strapped to your side with a permit to carry. As far as the Israelis go, I don't know. And I still don't know what took them so long. A security breach was called in. Hundreds and I think even thousands of calls flooded in to the IDF. They didn't show up, and I don't know why. I don't know why it took so long. Some of them, again, broke rank and they were told to head north. And they said, no, they're dying in the south. They're attacking them in the south. And they went south. And some of them made it. Most of them didn't. There was a base there. It was a trainee base. There were women there. Nobody else, from what I understand. I could be wrong. You check that. But they were all killed. There were 54 of them. They were all killed. I don't, to this day, I don't know if they even were able to get to weapons because when you're a trainee, eh, they're assigned to you at certain things, but you don't keep the weapon. So I don't know if they even had a chance to fight back. But there were calls from people everywhere. They're murdering us. They're killing us. They're in the kibbutz. A kibbutz is a suburb kind of thing. There's 15, 2,000 people. It's a small little community. And, and the IDF didn't get there for a long time. And when they did get there, they had to keep fighting. That didn't stop on October 7th, by the way. And by October 8th, they had pretty much most control. But all those people that actually lived through it then had to leave. Homes were burned down and so forth and so on. They burned people alive in their homes. They killed their kids in front of them. They raped the women. They desecrated the bodies. It's just horrific. These are evil people. This isn't something that you go, oh, it's a war. No, I'm sorry. That's not a war. It's just not. And then they had another terror attack yesterday. And then Israel is attacking Qatar's to wipe out some more from us. You can't go, hey, you got a Hamas there and bomb these guys. You just can't do that stuff. Yeah, I'd like to see them all gone too, and nobody blows up, here or there. When I was watching the footage of them shooting from the bus, the terrorists, they were in a choke point. It could have been a security point. There were 2 men on the bus. They were both Uh, I think AK-47 is what it looked like, sounded like. And I was trying to see where I didn't know where the terrorists were, or if there was more than one when I started watching the footage. And then I started seeing the holes in the other bus that was in the shot. I don't know who was standing there filming, but they were brave. They didn't flinch. They just stood right there and filmed. Or maybe they just set it to film and got down. But it was very good footage. But it turned out to be a blessing. The two people on the bus with the terrorists, there were the two, there were two civilians. One was a soldier, one was a civilian, and they both were armed, and they shot him dead. Had they not been there, I don't know. I mean, seven actually died. There was for 6 and 11 were injured, but one died at the hospital. So I know seven did make it. So if it hadn't been for them, they could have killed. Even I said only that many, because you could see 20, 30 people running at this camera angle, and these shots are going right over them, hitting the bus on the other side. There was a bus on this side and a bus on this side at this choke point. It looked to me like there was 3 to 4 lanes, maybe with the emergency lane. But the people of Israel, you need to be armed. Um, how do you build a community next to a fence that my dog could jump over? Why would you do that? And what took you so long? I'm with the people that made it through this. Where were you? Security notified you, and yet where were you? Where were you? And now, finally, you're going to just take Gaza. Well, you should have done that 260 days ago. You should have went through there. You should have bombed it like it was Berlin in 45. They're not wanting to give you those hostages back. They didn't take them to give them back. They took it to make you hurt. They took them to make the people go against you, the government that was trying to defend the rest of the people. They've had help from everybody. Why? Why isn't anyone standing with Israel? How can it always be Israel at fault? This is the things that I ask all the time. These are things that are in the news. This was yesterday, the day before, then this morning. And that's just 3 stories, perhaps. What, 4? Murdering, terrorists. It's all I see. And I don't see anybody, and I would like to see it here, that would stand up and say, that's enough. You can't do this shit. What is this stuff with the ice? And you're shooting police officers on ice, and you're going up against them and all this. Not what? In Georgia, which I'm sorry was funny to me, at the Hyundai plant here, where they made the batteries here for the Hyundais, they had 467 or some odd Koreans that they had to deport this week. Now, I'm here in Georgia. I married a Georgia man, so I can tell you for a fact they were called. They called ICE. The people that lived in, they called ICE because that's 460 jobs that they can't have because they've got South Koreans doing it. I don't know if they were here legally, but if they were here legally, I don't think they would have sent them back on a plane, which we, of course, taxpayers paid for. If they're giving out free hotels and airplane rides, I do wish they'd let me the hell out of one because I'm retired and I'd love to go somewhere and sit out in the sunshine like the rest of these bitches. I still don't get it. What is it with these people in Congress going out and going, you can't take this guy. He's just going to be here legally. We're going to make sure we take care of this. Or the other judge, stop the plane, turn it around. Is it Judge Bozeman or some shit? And I didn't. Do you really think that in 1850, guarded, they didn't have planes, but they had boats? So we're going to say, okay, they had all these people from Mexico run in. Oh yeah, well you did do something about that. They called it the Alamo. It's war without using bullets, and they're winning. They've desecrated entire cities. They've burned them down, got rid of police. People were fleeing them like it was World War III. And yet they're going, oh, it's okay. We can defund the cops. So somebody get off your duffs, stand up and go, what the absolute fuck all are you people doing? You're fired. You have one job. You have one fucking job. You walked your ass into my country. You end up getting in Congress, and that's a couple $100,000 a year. And now people like Ilhan Omar is worth $30 million. Please. Now, I'd like to know why the fuck all you people aren't chasing that money down, because you can't tell me that's not insider trading. I don't know what is. But you put poor Martha Stewart in jail for it, didn't you? It's a pity she wasn't in Congress. She could have been Nancy Pelosi showing off her $25,000 freezer, and they're worth like 480 million. What the absolute fuck are these people go in? And why are they still there at 85? Why? What's his name? Just turned 84 yesterday or today. I can't even think of his name. Bernie? Or I don't know. But, yeah, it makes me angry. And it makes me angry that there are no term limits. For God's sakes, Biden was in office since the fucking 60s, was vice president twice, senator for, I don't know, 20 times, ends up as president, which was funny as hell. I'm sorry. It wasn't funny, but it was funny. I loved him looking for chairs. There's no chair out there. Can't see a chair from miles. He's got an invisible one he's trying to find to sit down on. The Easter Bunny had to guide him out of the rose garden. He's like, and he always would run. This man is. Then they say, oh, he's got cancer. Well, if I'm sure he's got a lot of things because he wasn't there. You use that auto pen very, very long. And they're tracing that back. Will anybody get anything out of that? I doubt it. They destroyed a 4-star general, Mr. Flynn, and he is still fighting to clear his name. This man served his country, was a 4-star general, served his country for decades. Didn't do anything wrong. They proved he didn't do anything wrong. They proved that this was evidence that was made up. And he never had anything to do with anything. That he'd never broken any law, never done anything except serve his fucking country. And this means he still had to take a pardon on from Trump on his first administration because they wouldn't let it go. They knew he was guilty of nothing, that the evidence was all made up, and they kept at him. He'd lost his home, his life, his career. Why did they do that? Why did they destroy that man? And now he's coming back. And I think he may have a podcast next to all the ones that were fired from CNN, and they were racist bitches, every one of them. I hear some shit about white supremacy again. I probably punch the fuck out of somebody. I will bitch slap you so hard Google won't find you. Just get in my face and say that. And please bring your bullhorn because I would be happy to stuff that up there too. Time. It's got a bite. I know it's kind of a rant when I get up here. And I try to keep up. I usually have several systems set up so I can do live chat and all that. But I just got back in the last month. So it's only been 3 or 4 weeks that I've been back. And my equipment is just literally fighting me like tooth and nail. I have no idea why. I will start up here at the bar for like 2 hours before I said it'll say go in live, but it won't do it. And I have to keep adding stuff and connecting things, and I'm not that good at that stuff. Which is a good thing I'm at the bar because I've got something that makes me happy. This is why I say I think the women had a good idea about that stiffener thing. Are you feeling better? I get another one. I remember that. One of the better memories of my childhood. That one really flamed down, didn't it? Again, they go out. My husband does tolerate that for me. I won't buy them for myself because then I'd have to say I was smoking. But my husband's pretty good about asking me if I need some. He knows I will get up here and smoke one. And I try not to smoke a whole one. I get a whole day. But for some reason lately, I'm just a mess by the time I get up here. I'm aggravated. I'm mad. I'm mad at my country. I'm mad at the people in it. I'm mad at the people that did this to us. I think treason should have been applied to so many people. I don't know why bank accounts are not frozen when you go in and you make $480 million and you're 86 and you've been there since 1983. What the fuck are you doing? Why in God's name isn't the country stopping it? Again, if this was 1850, they'd have been hung. It would have been a military tribunal. It's treason. And now we have a Department of War. Is anybody going to press any charges to anybody? Who was selling that stuff on that auto pen? Now they've also discovered that, and I asked about this myself, was he absent on any days that pardons were signed? And I think you know the answer to that better than I do, but I'll wait. I got some time. Yeah. He wasn't even there for half of them. Wasn't even fucking there. So how the hell was he signing the shit? Of course he used the auto pen. But who was paying people to get that pardon? I heard there was 1,500, then I heard there was 15,000. I don't even know. I don't think anybody really knows how many pardons are out there. And for God's sakes, Hunter Biden, for God's sake, they had 4 years and they should have took that man down. Again, it's treason. They were selling the office. Hillary Clinton did the same thing. It's treason. There's no other paintbrush that will describe that. A lot of people say, I think you're kidding me because they come after you. That's going to be hate thing. No, that's not hate. That's truth. Prove me wrong. I got no problems with being proved wrong. I've got no problems with saying this is how I feel about it. I don't think you should be there. I do think there should be term limits. I don't think anybody. And poor President Trump, this man don't never sleep. I mean, I hope it doesn't kill him because he can't run again. He's just too old. He can't do it. But this man is making younger people run to keep up with him. I love that part. I really do. I kind of liked him at the first one. He did pretty good, I thought. And then I watched here for the second one. He hit the floor with skates, man. He was moving, and he was doing what needed to be done. He stopped the fucking border in a month or less. Meanwhile, when they were out there to stop people from coming in, it was no, take care of. You give them free phones, free flights, free clothes, free money, free food, medical, housing, and send them to different parts. Well, I'd like to know why there are veterans that are homeless in the streets. Why can't you put one of them in a hotel? We'd all like to know that. We'd all like to know why you're spending all this money to do this. But what can we do? We could get rid of these idiots that say they are there to provide law. That's what the Jasmine, what's her name is, from Texas. She's there as the lawmaker. Oh, the fuck you are, bitch. I hate it for you. The Constitution is on one fucking page. You people need 19,000 pieces of paper to add something to say, like, oh, don't kill helpless women from behind on a train months after they've been killed. In time for the murderer to start a go fucking fund me page, please. Please. This girl came through here and she thought she was safe, and she should have been safe. It scares me that people do not carry. It's not, I keep saying this, it's not the life that you save will be your own. The lives you save may be others because you had that weapon and you trained yourself to use it. And when they got in your mall and they were shooting helpless people, you could take them down and make sure the other 150 that they could have killed didn't get dead. Or we could all keep walking around going, well, we're clutching our rifles and our Bibles, so we're good to go. And that's another one I would slap. I would just bitch slap that one too. Google will never find him. Come on up to me and say that shit. I watch. People have gone crazy, just absolutely nuts. I kept looking at these people, Don Lemon and what was the other one? The woman. They got rid of her too, but they were so prejudiced. And they still are. That's all they say. White supremacy, white supremacy. Luckily they're in New York and they didn't bother to stick that microphone in my face while they're talking about white supremacists. Because that microphone would have had to have been medically removed from something. I promise you it would have. I am not fair. I am a 5'2" woman. I don't play fair. No. When I pick up my weapon, it'll paint you. You'll see the little red dots. You'll know. I'm gonna blow your head off. Nobody should pull a weapon that they are not prepared to use, that they are not used to using, If you get a weapon, you know that weapon. You sleep with that weapon. You keep that weapon when you are cleaning the house. You go out back and dry fire that bitch. You don't always have to have bullets in a range, but know your weapon. Take it apart, clean it, do all those things so you can really use them. Because if you ask me, would you want to have been on that train just looking at your phone and dying because somebody who's been recidivated 14 times and they showed the judge? You can't tell me she wasn't racist. She didn't look like she was a judge. She looked like she was a house cleaner. But that's she was black, he was black, and it was basically a note to say, well, you can pop in later for this. 14 times. And this little girl's dead. And it took a month of being shamed on podcasts like mine and others to say, why the hell isn't this in the regular media? What is going on? It's been a month. Finally, now they're coming out saying how terribly sorry they are, but they need to fix the mental health facilities. Yes, you do, because the inmates are running the asylum, in particular cities that I could spout on all day long. Um, but if you got $480 million, you don't care that the bloke down the street makes $400 a month on Social Security, and his rent is $18.50 a month. You don't give a shit about that because you got 480 million smackaroos. So you've got your nice little place wherever it is, the security. Hell, we're paying for the security for most of these people. That was the other thing I couldn't understand was why they were saying, oh, we're taking back the security clearances. I'm like, oh my God. Why the fuck did they have one? And why the fuck did you wait half a year to take it? It's a good thing I'm not president because I wouldn't be very nice about this. It'd be like 1850. Give a parachute and I'll toss them out when we get over Palestine and what have you. Well, they get at least the ones that I think are smart are the ones that self-deport. They get $1,000, mind you. That's a lot of money in Mexico. They may not get to keep it long, so it's this is border, on your border, and you live in 30 million of them. You can say 12 million, you can say 20 million. It was 30 million plus at least. You don't know if they've ever had a shot for measles. You don't know if they've ever done anything. Finally, you're finding out that they did do some things. They did know that certain people were murderers. They were rapists. And we sent them to New York and we sent them to Florida, which I thought DeSantis was funny about. I would actually go out and vote for it if he ran. Along with Marco Rubio, that'd be a good ticket. But he took the whole busload that came in. They learned that they were coming in at 2 or 3 in the morning and loading them on buses, and then the buses would take off for parts of them. And he got out there with his people. And he said all the buses that came in on one flight to Martha's fucking Vineyard. That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And they thought, I guess, after they sent, the old Nikes that they're not wearing anymore, and the Ray-Bans that they replaced already. Here we go. Here we gave them stuff, so you're ready to go, right? I don't know how long it took them to get them out of there, but they're out of there. This is every city, just about. I went to I call it my husband's Walmart because it's the big Walmart. I use a little grocery Walmart. Sometimes we actually go instead of having it delivered because I'm on my feet. I'm never going to be 100%, but that's close enough for me. And I go there, and we've been here for 14 years, longest I've ever stayed anywhere. And suddenly, mascara is behind a locked glass. Nails were behind locked glass. I had to get people with keys. And I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, I knew they were doing that with medications that were like $40, which is, again, highway robbery. Even that's another, I just go where my mind is. President Trump came out and told everybody that the pharmaceutical companies needed to come back to the United States because they were in the other countries because they could make billions an hour selling us pills that were $100 for 14. Meanwhile, in Britain, they're $4 for 14. It's the same pill, it's the same company, but that's the difference in the pay and how much it costs Americans. He swore he was going to start changing that too. I hope he did. So far, I haven't seen it. They don't treat one for pain anymore because the pain people had all these opioid problems. Well, I have pain for the rest of my life. My leg will never heal completely. I have so much hardware in there that I go drive by the fucking airport, lights are blaring, sirens come on. You can hear somebody go "Tit, tit, 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 tit," on the telegraph, you know. "Tit, tit, 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 tit." I'm just driving by, man. That's how much hardware is in my leg now. And no, that will never be right, and it will hurt the rest of my life. And they do not treat pain. And I love the fact that my regular physician, I go to the VA, of course, and I get to see them once a year. And it took 10 months for me to actually be able to even stand on this leg. So, and no help from anyone after that. It was basically your X-ray looks really good, and you can wear shoes now, and we're cutting you loose. Quote, and that was it. And I called my VA, of course, and I also went. We have a system here right now with the VA that you can do it online. And I was like, anybody want to give me physical therapy? And wearing a shoe does not mean you can walk again after 10 months and all this hardware and all this stuff. So then it was all this. I actually did get a really good guy, but he went out on rotation. We have two VAs, one downtown, and we have one that's just a little bit closer. My father-in-law passed at the one out downtown Augusta, and we were here. We had brought him here, and we had to drive 3 hours up and 3 hours back. And we would bring him here, and it's so different than the way it was there. You had to sit in like a hallway with 15,000 people, and somebody would finally call your name so you could be seen and your medications redone. It was crazy. But when I moved here, they had figured all that out and had made a second VA. So you didn't have emergency services, but you had like the women's clinic and so forth. And they've been pretty good with me. I give them credit. It was crazy with the whole town was locked down, and Augusta's not that small a place. But in any event, I see that I've been up here about an hour. My husband's been very patient with me today. Because this is like I said, the bar is so big that we took up the dark. This was also a smaller home. We downsized because the kids weren't living with us, the grandkids weren't living with us. We turned the upstairs though into two apartments because of the pandemic, because my husband already had a man cave, and so it's been crazy around here. And then of course I'm out of commission for a year. My husband was so lost. Listen, I was appalled. I basically was stuck, in the master bedroom. I just couldn't get around. It was just too hard. And he would have to do everything, feed the animals, all of that stuff, cook and wait on me back and forth, because I couldn't even get into the crutches of the wheelchair and to try to go in the other parts of the home, because the minute I got on the crutches, I could make it to the master bathroom. After that, I was like, catch me, catch me, catch me. And I didn't think it was that difficult to walk on crutches. I've done it before, not for that long. And apparently, I couldn't do that at this age. It took like months to be able to go 20, 30 feet. There's only a few a few places that someone who's disabled, say in a wheelchair like I was, motorized or not, they didn't have ramps, they didn't have automatic doors, they didn't have the little shopping buggies you could just sit on and drive around. If they did, there was some very large people on them, and they did work very well. They were sideways if you could get one. Kroger had built one here about 6 blocks from us, and they put in like 8 or 10 of the scooters, and they were great. That's where I ended up starting to shop more, because you get so they wouldn't treat for pain, but you would kind of fight through it to just get out of the house. And they were the only ones that were wheelchair acceptable, and you could get access and so forth. It's not true of anybody else. And I thought this was a federal mandate. It's been all I can do not to jump on these people. I just don't have the time. So I need to make points that if you're in areas and you've seen that happening, we all should do something about this, because there are people coming home that are missing limbs and need to be able to get out. And I see my husband's probably, no, it's not my husband. I'm surprised. We get potential spam a lot. I'm very popular with potential spam. I see my time is about up. I try not to put it in over an hour, because I'm boring everybody, and they're not exactly sure which way I'm going to jump. But you got Lady Hippie at the Bar. Please share, subscribe, talk to me. Anytime, anytime. Throw it in the comments. I do read them. I will get to you. I promise. Come see me. Try to see me when I'm at the bar. Generally, I'm here between 10 and 2. So if you don't have a lot of time to check, again, just throw Lady Hippie at the bar in the search engine, and I will pop up and yell a lot. By the time I've had my my stiffener, I'm in a really good mood because I haven't ate today. And at my age, I know better. But what the hell? You only live once. That's what they say. I don't actually believe that. I believe in reincarnation. But then again, I believe in UFOs and ghosts. So it's hard to talk to me to find anything that I'm going to make sense on because I just jump, jump, jump. But I would love to hear from everybody. And if not, it likes hit the streamlines and say she's nuts, but she's pretty good. I got a dash now, everybody. Have a good one. Look around. Let's see what difference we can make. And again, let's not lose social Woodstock here. It won't. It doesn't take a second to like. Blessings upon all of you, and thanks again.